The snow machine is all fired up. Welcome to this edition of State of the Weather Address. Now, if you go back to my winter outlook, which I have in the link below, full winter outlook, I had above average precipitation for much of the northeastern United States, parts of the central United States. I also had above average precipitation in the northwestern United States. So far, that is verifying. And this area out in the northeastern United States, that's the area that's going to fire up over the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to talk about that in this episode of State of the Weather Address, and I'm going to assess the potential. Will there be nor'easters? Will there be lake effect snow? Will it be just random little Pacific waves coming through with snow? I'm going to talk about that in this episode. I'm also going to go over a model, weather computer model tutorial where I'm just going to literally go on the website and I'm going to show you how to, use a very simple feature on the weather model. So if you're a complete beginner, this will be great for you. Also, I'm going to go over a concept called surprise snow. This is what I call surprise snow. So I'm going to teach you what surprise snow is and how that could be happening in New York and Pennsylvania over the next day or two. So that's what I'm going to talk about in this episode of State of the Weather Address. Now, this is for weather enthusiasts and people that are tired of hypey, dumbed down forecasts. This is raw meteorological data, but it's going to be made simple for you. And so let's get right into this episode of State of Weather Address. The WPO is going negative, and that's the Western Pacific Oscillation. And as you can see, it's going negative right around now, and will as we get into the second, maybe even third week of December here. And what you usually get with that is you usually get cool temperatures in the central and eastern United States. And I actually think this will be a little bit further west with a little bit of deeper cold air out in this region, as you're about to see here. So we're going to have some very cold air coming up. But along with that, you're going to get some snow for the northern and eastern United States, as you're about to see here. Now in my winter forecast, I had a storm track map, and these were some of the most common storm tracks you'd see this winter, especially this northern one right here. And that's something you're going to see coming up over the next couple of weeks. It's actually already happening. And you're also going to see some of these lows swing out from the Gulf. But let's examine what's happening right now and how we could get some surprise snow in New York and Pennsylvania. Now this is the current radar as of this video on December 6th. Now if you're watching this late, you'll still learn a lot of cool stuff here, and we're still going to go over the long-range forecast. So right now we got some snow out in the northern United States, kind of working its way southeastward. Nothing overly heavy, maybe a couple spotty bands. You got a wave coming out into the Great Lakes region. You got some storms south that are trailing along this low pressure system. There's actually two lows, and this one out here to the east is going to strengthen and move on out here. And north of the warm front, we got plenty of precipitation out in this area. And what's going to happen over the next day, and actually very soon here, is you're going to get some surprise snow potentially up in New York and in Pennsylvania through a process called evaporative cooling. And I will show you that in a second. Alrighty, so who wants access to the weather models, the secret weather models the meteorologists use? And this is pivotalweather.com. This is where I get my weather model data. Well, I get it from a lot of sources, but this is a good website if you're looking for simple, visual, really graphically nice maps here. So go to www.pivotalweather.com, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on models here. And this up here is your model type. So there's different types of models, and right here is your regional type. So if you want to zoom in or whatever. So I'm going to go to let me explain what these are. Global models are models that are essentially examine the entire globe. Regional models examine regions. They kind of ingest data just for regions. And this model right here, convection allowing, this is good for really short-term events, less than 48 hours, that examine, like specific, really specific things, like where thunderstorms are going to be, where heavy snow bands will be. Anyway, that's that. And then ensembles are a lot of model runs stacked together, so you can kind of see if the models, how they typically will show you how, the confident a model is in a certain feature happening. So anyway, we're going to go over the NAM 4KM right here. This is the high resolution NAM computer model. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on surface and precipitation right here. See, these are your little topics: upper air, surface precip, severe weather, winter weather. We're going to go to surface and precipitation. I'm going to click under precipitation type, composite reflectivity right here. And this is your hours right here, how far in advance. Anyway, so this shows the precipitation that the model is forecasting. Okay, this is what the radar's going to look like, how it's going to forecast the radar in the future. So up here, I'm going to click on this little play button. I'm going to hit forecast hour loop. And so here's your hours. This is going all the way out to 60 hours in advance. That's what this model does. Some models go out farther. And you can see how that radar, how it forecasts the radar to look. So 60 hours from now, this is what the radar is going to look like. So you got your snow. That kind of looks like the radar we just looked at. We got some snow up in the northern plains here. This is a little low pressure system, nothing overly strong. And then you got that rain, okay? And this model is actually about 6 hours old, so it's actually a little bit further north than what it shows. This and you can see that up here. This is your model runs up here. So if you want to look at previous model runs, you can just click that. And but that's the 12Z run, which was earlier this morning. So let me show you what's going to happen here over the next several hours. You'll see something happening in the northeastern United States. You get some snow that kind of comes out of nowhere. So watch that again. It goes from rain, and then boom, right there, out comes some snow. So let's go into that region right there and see what happens here. So it starts off as rain, and then boom, right there, you get some snow that mixes in kind of in the middle of that rain pocket where it's a little bit more intense, as you see right here. And this is forecasted right here. This is where your forecast time is. Wednesday, which is actually Tuesday at 0Z. 0Z is around, I think, right now, 7 p.m. tonight, Tuesday, out in the northeastern United States. And so that's forecasting snow around dinner time, late evening, and into the day, even early morning hours on Wednesday, as that tracks northeastward. So this is called what I call surprise snow, and it's caused by something called evaporative cooling. I'll go over into what that is in a second, but first, let's see how much snow is going to fall. How much snow is going to fall in this area? We'll click on winter weather and go under total snow accumulation right here. Accumulated snowfall, 10 to 1. Okay, so this is just showing how much snow is going to fall, and you can, for the total one, you can just go all the way out to 60 hours, and it shows how much snowfall is going to accumulate in the entire 60 hours. And right now, it's actually panning out anywhere from 3 to 6 inches in some of the heaviest areas, and obviously that's going to be probably in higher elevations near the mountains and stuff. So you could get a moderate amount of wet snow out there with this storm system. So why is this happening? Well, let's click on something called column max temperature down here. And what this is the maximum temperature from the surface to the mid-levels of the atmosphere at 500 millibar. So it shows the highest the temperature is within that layer. So if you see these blue areas right here, that's actually 0 degrees Celsius. Okay, Celsius. Keep in mind this is Celsius. So we know 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So if the maximum temperature between the surface and the mid-levels is 32 degrees, that likely means that the entire area where precipitation is going to fall is below freezing. So you can expect snow in this area up here. So a little a little meteorological technique you can use. So here is the current conditions out in the northeastern United States. You can see that we do not have much cold air, okay? Okay, so if you see this stuff sliding south, you probably have a cold air mass moving south, but we don't really see that. Now watch what happens over the next several hours. You can see that blue comes out of nowhere, that 32 degrees, just boom, comes out of nowhere. You know, there's really no air mass that moves south at all. It just kind of blows up right here out of nowhere. And so what's happening is that surprise snow I was talking about, it's caused by evaporative cooling, and that's cold air generated by the storm system. So you got the low pressure down there a little bit farther south. It's actually generating its cold air, and I'm going to show you how that happens. Alrighty, so I've hired my fancy graphic designer to draw these graphics out here as we enter the Bob Ross mode of this segment here. We've got a cloud. That's what that is right there. And you got some snowflakes, and then you got raindrops, and then you got the surface down here with the two pieces of grass floating around here. So what's going on here? Well, we've got a cloud right here, and it's cold up here. Okay, so it's very cold up here, and it's warmer at the surface. It's above 32 degrees down here, okay? And it's below 32 degrees up here. Now what's happening is you got snowflakes up here. That the cloud, you know, starts out with snowflakes, okay? So not always the case, but in this case it is, okay? So we got some snowflakes up here, and eventually as the snowflakes fall, it starts to warm, and it melts, and you get some raindrops. But as these raindrops fall, some of these raindrops are going to evaporate, okay? They're going to go from a liquid to a gas, so they're kind of going to evaporate back up into the atmosphere. And so you can see that's why there's less raindrops at the surface here. So there's going to be a lot more precipitation up here. And when no raindrops fall, it's technically called virga, okay? But that's what's kind of going on right now. And when we go from a liquid to a gas, when we go from a liquid to a gas, it actually steals energy from the environment. So it's actually to change a state of matter from something that's cooler traditionally to something that's warmer, okay? You know, quote unquote here. It's actually stealing energy from the environment. So you can kind of imagine, hey, well, I want to go from a liquid to now a gas. I need to steal some energy to change the state. And when it does that, you know, energy, you know, is essentially kind of like heat. It's going to take heat from the environment. It's going to steal heat from the environment to change it to a gas. And so when it does that, the environment around this water droplet's actually going to cool, okay? So if you imagine a lot of these water droplets doing that, it's taking energy from the environment and it's stealing heat to change it back to a gas. And after a while, after enough of this happens, the environment cools down enough so that snow can make it to the ground. So this eventually, as this drawing is getting awfully messy, but this temperature eventually is going to cool so that it's near freezing or even below freezing in much of the atmosphere. And all of these little snowflakes up here, hey, they'll be able to make it to the surface. So that's kind of how that process happens. Alrighty, so it's time for the long range segment, and we got some snow firing up for the northeastern United States. The snow machine is in full force. And so what I've done here is I've gone to the GFS, and we're just going to go to the continental US, just shows the entire US, and I'm going to click on that loop button again, and I'm under the precipitation type again. So let's just go over the next 384 hours, 2 weeks out to, I think that's what, like close to December 20th now. So got a low pressure system out here and another one here and that other one here. This one's the one that's going to strengthen and move northeastward and eventually deliver parts of that area of Pennsylvania and New York some snow. So let's fast forward this into the future here. This will continue going into the future, and what you'll notice here is we've got some snow from that first system, and we also got some snow firing up with the lake effect system. When you get, a flow that kind of comes south like this, northwesterly flow here, you're going to get, I ideal ingredients for lake effect snow. Right now the lake waters are warm, and we get that cold air that's moving over those warm temperatures. You're going to get some lake effect snow as a result. And so this area right here is going to receive quite a bit of snow over the next couple of weeks, not only from that storm system or storm systems that track up northeast, but from the lake effect snow as well, and from clipper systems. So that area, as I had in the winter forecast, is going to receive a lot of snow. So let's fast forward it into the future here. We got another system out in the Pacific moving eastward. So we'll fast forward that. And actually, let me go back a little bit. There's going to be a lot of cold air, behind this trough. So there's going to be a lot of cold air that slips in from Canada down into the northern plains and even into the eastern United States. So we'll fast forward it. Here we are. Here's a Pacific system moving onshore, going to give this area quite a bit of snow. So not only do you get lake effect snow, you get this system too. And we'll have to watch this system. It's rather progressive. It doesn't wrap up much. It's pretty fast moving. So I don't think you're going to see anything like a nor'easter. Typically a nor'easter, you're going to have something that tracks up the Gulf Coast. Maybe you get a clipper that converges, and then you get this big comma shaped thing. But that doesn't look to be the case. It's just going to be kind of a quick moving system, but nonetheless a moderate amount of snow for the northeastern, especially the interior northeastern United States and the Great Lakes region. That'll have to be watched. More lake effect snow behind it as we get that pattern to set up again, and another little small system moving through later in the month towards the 14th of December. More lake effect snow, so quite a bit of snow out there. Another system coming on shore, and that's going to move through. And that's something that's getting really far out, around 264 hours out, around the 17th, 18th of December. So that's pretty far out. But this system will have to be watched as the frontal, here's the frontal passage, some snow behind that maybe. But again, another progressive system. These are all very fast moving, and that's just getting really far out. But these are all very fast moving progressive systems moving into the Northeast, kind of like that storm track I talked about in my winter forecast. You're seeing that unfold. You're also getting lake effect snow, and that's kind of what happens with these La Nina type winters. I would say it's more of a borderline winter, a neutral pattern where that sets up a little further north, but nonetheless, that's what's going on with the long range. So how much snow are we going to get here? So you have a lot of snowfall north of that track, especially in that area of my winter forecast. I had above average snow for this area, slightly above for this area. If you want to see it, it's in the link below. And then I also had above average precipitation out in that area, so that looks to be verifying so far here. And so you could get well over a foot, in parts of New York, Great Lakes region. As you can see, the lake effect, right along the lakes there, well over a foot potentially over the next 2 weeks. So also a lot of snow out there. And for long-range forecasting, it's a good idea to look at the EPS. This is the European Ensemble. We'll just quickly go over this. This is from tropicaltidbits.com. There's a little bit of a ridge in the East Coast as that storm system we're talking about moves through, but behind it, here comes the cold, baby. Tons of cold coming from the Canadian western coast, coming down into the central and eastern United States. And that's from that negative WPO, and that's going to move its way into the northeastern United States. You're going to get that lake effect snow as a result. Later into the month, it has a vortex, pretty cold polar vortex up here in Canada. Okay, and it's we're going to see how that does. If that gets pushed, it may actually dip further south into the eastern United States. You could be dealing with very cold temperatures if that's the case. But right now that looks to be suppressed farther north. But this looks like a La Nina pattern, kind of a borderline La Nina pattern that's shaping up. So that looks like our temperature forecast that we did as well. So that being said, if you want access to that temperature forecast, go visit the link in the description. I've put the link to that winter forecast in the description below. It's actually an 80-page winter forecast. Very simple read, even though it's 80 pages. But I gave you regional breakdowns, some city snowfall guesses, and kind of how I put the forecast together. So go ahead and click the link in the description below enter your name and your email, and I'll send it off right to you. And after you get your winter forecast, I'll also send you some more awesome content, probably on a weekly basis, kind of like this as well, in newsletter format. So go ahead and get that winter forecast. And also, if you want to supercharge your forecasting skills and you want to get more forecasting breakdowns like this and tutorials, go ahead and click subscribe right in the middle of this YouTube video. Go ahead and click on subscribe, and I'll be releasing more of these. If you're on mobile, I believe the subscribe button is actually below this video, so go ahead and check that out there. And go ahead and like the video. Leave a comment, ask a question. I'll read all the comments. I can answer your questions as well. So go ahead and get your winter forecast. After you do, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, and I'll see you soon.